How to sound like Morgan Freeman. Pretty exciting stuff. Let me adjust this camera just a bit. Or Susan Sarandon, if you're one of the ladies, or fill in the blank of the famous actor, actress, voiceover person. How you doing this morning, Bill DeWeese? Voiceover talent, voiceover coach. So glad you're here. Welcome to a brand new day, a brand new month. New month, new you. November the 1st. Hope you guys had a good Halloween slash trick or treat last night. We had a good time. It was the first time for us to experience trick or treat here at the new house. So I had quite a few kids stop by, which was a lot of fun. Then Vicky made her pumpkin chili and we took it 3 doors down to where my daughter and her family, my 3 grandkids live. And there we enjoyed dinner together and had a good time. So again, hope you guys had a good time as well. And boy, it started snowing. I mean, and it started like collecting snow. It wasn't just a teeny little flurry. It was snowing pretty hard there just before trick or treat started. But in the Midwest, right? You never know exactly what you're going to get. So, how in the world do you sound like Morgan Freeman? Well, if you've been a voiceover for any length of time, you understand the routine. You get an audition from someone, and within that audition, typically there is a voice or even multiple voices you would know, like actors, actresses, are referenced for what they're looking for, the kind of sound they're looking for. Oftentimes, with that, there's also a number of adjectives and descriptors that are used. Sometimes, I mean, it could be meant as 5 or 10. Sometimes conflicting. I mean, it can really get into your head. So, I want to talk to you about what do you do when that happens? Because what brought this up was yesterday. I recorded a job for BP, British Petroleum, that I booked, an audition that I won, where they were looking for a Morgan Freeman type voice. Do I sound anything like Morgan Freeman? No. I've also, a while back, booked a job where they were looking for a James Earl Jones, the voice of CNN voice. Do I sound anything like James Earl Jones? Obviously not. So, but early in my career, I really thought that my job was to twist and contort my voice the best I could to try to meet every what I perceived to be expectation of the client. So if they gave me a person's name, I thought they wanted me to sound like that person. If they gave me 15 different descriptions of what, they wanted it to sound like, I tried my best. I tried my best to sound like everything they asked. My results were pretty dire. I rarely ever booked any work like that. Um, and now I know the reason why. It's because when you're trying to artificially manufacture something that you really can't do, and frankly, I can't sound like Morgan Freeman, nor would I try, you're not going to book the job because it loses any sense of genuineness or authenticity because you're trying so hard to not be you that you lose all appeal at that point because it's all about being believable. And so you can't be believable when you're trying to be somebody else. Now, that being said, as an aside, let me just say, if you're an impersonator, yes, there's work out there. If you can impersonate famous voices, yes, you can get work like that. Whether you can build a career doing that, I don't know, maybe not. But what I'm talking about is within the general voiceover marketplace. So I won this job for British Petroleum. As a matter of fact, let me bring up the audition script here. Let me just read a little bit for you so you can hear what it sounded like. And you tell me, does this sound anything to you like Morgan Freeman? Every day in this industry is an opportunity, a chance to innovate and solve complex problems that make a difference. It's about leading the way in energy transition, where oil and gas are part of the solution, not the problem. No, doesn't sound anything like Morgan Freeman. But what does it do? How did I book that job against some pretty stiff competition, I might add? Well, what I learned along the way, and I want to share with you, it's not about impersonating somebody else or sounding like them. It's about understanding their point of view. It's about understanding the attitude, the emotion that they bring to the script. And when you think about Morgan Freeman, for instance, Morgan Freeman is an amazing storyteller and he gets hired primarily. Yes, he has a nice voice. You can't argue that, but that's not why he gets hired. He gets hired because he's a great storyteller. He knows how to connect. If you listen to him, he never sounds like he's in a hurry. He always sounds like he knows what he's talking about, which means oftentimes when he's speaking, You never feel like he's stretching, trying to figure out what he's doing. There's a lot of inflecting down at the end of phrases and sentences because what he's saying is absolute. He's telling the story. He understands the story. He's not guessing. He knows. So you follow. So it's about understanding, again, the attitude, the emotion, the point of view, the personality that they're bringing to the script, and bring that part of you into it. Because there are times in my life when I do feel confident, when I do feel like I know what I'm talking about, when I can tell the story with a sense of conviction and purpose. And so that's what I did when I recorded that audition. And it just so happened in this case, that's what the client liked and what they wanted. And I booked the job. So, how do you sound like Morgan Freeman? Well, if you're a voiceover talent, don't try to sound like Morgan Freeman. Try to listen to, and again, it doesn't matter who the actor is or actress that's being referenced in the script or in the audition. Listen to how they present it. Listen to the attitude that they bring to it. Try to get a sense of their point of view, how they feel about what they're talking about. That's what you bring to the script. And by the way, when a client's making a decision, they're picking just what feels or sounds right to them. It's not a contest to see who gets closest to Morgan Freeman. It's never, I don't think it's ever that. Rarely ever, if ever. It's, they'll go back and listen to, and what oftentimes the person that's picked for a job will sound nothing like what was referenced in the beginning of in an audition. So at the end of the day, it's about being believable. Period. It's about if you're not believable, then you don't stand a chance. If you're believable, it really doesn't matter what they ask for. You stand a pretty good chance of getting hired for that job because it will resonate, it will connect. And that's what clients are looking for. They're looking for people whose voices, and really it's not the voice so much, it's what's behind the voice that resonates and connects with people. That's why AI doesn't connect with people because there's no sense of context or understanding of what the story is. There's no true feeling. And with a human being, you can sense there's a vibrational force that goes on behind the voice itself. It's the personality, it's the point of view, it's the attitude, and we pick up on that. And that's what allows us to understand, it causes us to believe or not to believe. These are the things that we have to tap into to win voiceover auditions, and I hope you find that helpful this morning. I always like to do a shout out at the end of my morning video for those who are on, so if you would take a second just to share your name, where you're watching or listening from this morning, we'll do some, shout outs and see who is on. We've got Corey was first on this morning. Corey, thank you, first in line. Dave in New York, how are you doing? Tim in Altoona, John in Rhinebeck, Bill in Boise, Chris says Shawshank, what a movie. Yeah, I know, it's like one of my all-time favorites. I think it's one of almost everybody's all-time favorites. And by the way, I mentioned this in the stream, but some of you may have seen it. Rob Ryder, who is on, he's on almost every morning. He's in Europe right now on a European river cruise with his wife. He's in my voiceover blueprint program. And Rob was actually in Shawshank Redemption. That's all I'm going to say about it. When he's back from vacation and pops back on, you guys can ask him more about that. Who, where, what, where within the movie. I'll leave you with that. And we've got Galen. I started direct marketing last week and I've gotten several warm responses plus an audition for a national commercial that I booked. Galen, way to go. We're proud of you. That's awesome. That is awesome. Hey, Michelle in Philly, Rusty in the UP of Michigan. Man, it's got to be snowing up in the UP, right? It snows up there in July and August, right? Is that right? Maybe not. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but I hear it gets pretty darn cold. I go to school for acting. My teacher was the CD for Shawshank. Now, what's the CD? Forgive me. I'm not a trained actor. I've never been in a movie. I don't know. Casting director. Oh, yeah, casting director, of course. Okay, gotcha. Ron in Charleston. I mean, I didn't see somebody say casting director. I'm guessing that's what that means. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. Ron in Charleston. We've got Robert in Altoona. We've got Ty in Warsaw, Indiana. Cold Halloween. Yes, indeed. We've got Frankfort, Indiana in the house. Wayne in Port Orchard, Washington. Ralph in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Josh, Houston, Texas. first live stream to be on. Hey, Josh, welcome. Good to have you here. Denise in Long Island. Speaking of Long Island, I just watched a great movie with Ray Romano. It's a new movie. Trying to remember. And his wife was played by the woman. Oh my gosh, can't think of her name. Anyhow, and it's the reason I'm thinking about it was because it was set in Long Island. It was such a check it out. I think it's like on Hulu or something. Good movie. It's his newest one. John in frosty Memphis. Amy, good morning. JR in sunny Austin, Texas. We've got, St. Petersburg, Russia checking in. Good morning. Must be Igor. Ralph, how are you doing in Fresno? Theo, good morning from the icy hinterlands of Chicagoland. Yes, yes, icy, cold, snowy, all that fun stuff. Mark in Estes Park, Colorado. Scott, hello there in Brookings, South Dakota. Good evening to you, AG in India. Sandra, how are you doing in Worthington, Ohio? A light dusting on the ground there. Hey, Chris in Lakeville, Minnesota. Scotty said Morgan Freeman is Morgan Freeman because he is Morgan Freeman. So be you. I mean, yeah, who else can you really be? At least genuinely, who else can you be? No one else. Dr. Bob, how are you doing in Clearwater, Florida? There's no snow in today's forecast. Well, I would hope not. Clearwater is just one of those beautiful parts of Florida. I love Clearwater. Jack said, had my first nightmare about a directed session last night. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, and the client began losing patience with me. Fun dream. All of our insecurities, all of us, they all come out in our dreams. Well, one thing I can tell you is that's now that you've experienced that, you'll never experience anything as bad as your dreams. So just to have take some comfort in that. Aaron, we share something in common. I was a backup airborne traffic reporter for Denver. I hate to fly, but always love being up in the chopper. Hey, Aaron, yeah, good stuff, man. I love to fly. I mean, I'm not a pilot or anything, but I've always loved. I used to dream as a child that I could fly. Occasionally, I still have that dream as an adult. I was like, I was totally hooked on the idea of like Superman, Batman. I used to always run around with a towel cape with a clothespin, holding it around my neck, flying around the yard as a kid. And I've always had this obsession with flying. Let's see here. Heather, how you doing in Chattanooga? Old man Winter's come to town. Yes, yes, he has. Let's see here. Who have I not given a shout out to here? Robert in Mobile, Alabama. Tacoma, Washington. Dominique, hello there. Scotty. Oh, it wasn't Long Island. It was Queens, somewhere in Queens. Yes, thank you, Scotty. You can tell I'm not from New York. I'm getting my boroughs all confused. My bad on that one. I bet Morgan Freeman can't do Bill DeWeese. I bet he probably doesn't want to, but yeah, that's probably not. Hey, we've got Brad in South Africa. Good morning, Brad. Avery in Spring, Texas. Hey guys, thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. Remember, it's not about you it's not about you sounding like somebody else famous. It's about you being you, but understanding that when that direction is given to you, they're not asking for an impersonation. They just want to hear somebody that has perhaps the same confidence, the same sense of humor, um, personality. So think of it in terms of that and not think in terms of impersonating, because that is really a tough tough road to go if you're going voiceover, because it'll keep you from booking a lot of work. Hey guys, have a great day. It was great hanging out with you, and we'll talk to you soon.